welcome back in, everybody. This is Big Ed, your host, and this is the second part of this interview that I did with Austin Bonjour. I hope you really enjoyed the first one. It looks like a lot of you did. We've had already just in a couple days, we've had a lot more downloads and people are really listening and getting out of this what I'm hoping you're getting out of this, which is just to clear the air, get some things going, and ramp us up for the next part of what's going to go on in bass fishing out here in the West Coast. So this next part is just as good, if not better. So thanks for tuning in, and hope you enjoy it.
That's what I'm talking about, son. Get you some of that daggone pie.
Woo-hoo! Looky there! There's your bug-eyed big one right there.
Getting started. We're getting started.
Here's what I'm talking about. Gosh dang gorilla!
Let's go, baby. Straight meat. God, look at that big one.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you, and I got to see it at, full force because I was an angler there. I was a competitor at that event. And I feel that as an apex angler, as a Wild West Bass Trail, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone that got invited to the event. So there was one bass angler's not officiant. That's not what I'm looking for.
Contestants? I guess that's another.
I was a guy.
Yeah.
I was a guy that got invited to the event through Wild West Bass Trails Apex format. There was the Apex format, there was the WWBT Pro-Ams format, and there was the One Bass Pro-Am guys that got invited to this deal. Mm-hmm. If you know, if you get invited to this event, you know what's going to happen to it while it's happening, the short term of it, and you blame the losses of, unfortunately, all this, what's happening in the sport right now, this black eye on the sport, which is Apex guys all through WWBT and the Pro-Am guys and team guys, and then you are all owed money because this money was put into an event that was ran poorly and unexpectedly and out of nowhere, right? Like, I didn't know this tournament was happening in 2022. I went through 2022. No one knew.
No.
And if you know this is going to happen, it's a better result. And if I can preach to anybody that's out there, I'm not going to sit here and tell you about the Pro-Am guys, the team guys, and the Apex guys that are owed money because so-and-so dumped too much money into this thing, which may have had other people telling him to do such thing. That's just speculation. That's how I see it. I'm in this entire situation fully, right? So I'm not just some Joe Blow you picked up to put on the podcast. I'm someone that's involved with these events.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I don't take anything you're saying. I asked for your opinion, and I want your opinion because above everything else in this, one, you have a passion for this sport, and you can't say that Austin does not. He does. He has competed in this sport at some of the highest levels, and he has an opinion that is from an inside, and that's why I asked him to be here. That's why I asked him to talk about this. And he's had opinions, and people have listened and said, well, he said this or he said that. Who cares? Everybody is entitled in this country to their own opinion. And Austin, of course, is here on this show because I want his opinion because of who he is and what he's done and what he's gone through, what his family's been through with it. This is not never let this be. I have talked to the best fishermen. Sorry, Austin, but I have talked to the top pros in this country, and they have the same opinions that this is not just about a person. It is not about James Watson, Edwin Evers, Skeet Rees, Ishmael. It is not about just that person. They have families. They have sponsors. There are so many people involved in you being at the level you're at. Your wife has dedicated and given up her time. She's dedicated and given up her life to you. And you're out here because on this show right now, a show that promoted that event, as much as I could in the short time period that I had known about it. And you're
right, which is nothing to take against you.
No, and I'm not taking any of it personal. I think your opinion, I think that everything that you said tonight has been spot on. And like you said, there are going to be haters. There's always going to be haters. We all know that. But
absolutely.
But to have an opinion about what happened to us, and I do want to say us, because I'm an angler and I love this sport as much as the next guy, and I want to be a part of it, and I love being a part of it, and I love doing what I'm doing. And this show right here gives me somewhat of a platform that I can come out here and let you guys hear that there are other anglers that are upset about this. But at the same time, like Austin said, you have to learn from what just happened, and we have to change. Because I watched you guys come across that stage. I drove trucks across that, in front of that stage to bring you guys to weigh in your fish. And I kid you not, I felt like I was at any other backyard tournament going on in this state. And that alone is sad, because I've been to other states where they have tournament circuits that show up and there's $10,000 or 10,000, participants, or not participants, viewers. There are 10,000 fans that show up at a simple, smaller event, just a regular, what we would have as a Wild West tour event, a one bass tour event, coming out, going to Clear Lake and showing up. And there's tons of people at these things. Not 50, not 150, not 200, thousands. And I don't get it, because California has more people in it, more residents in it than any of those. But we can't get the fan base. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I get it. I know the fan base is there, and I'm going to rebuttal on what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I said, there's thousands of people out there. I'm going to say the planning was terrible on the event. I'm going to say the event was great, and how they structured it, amazing, right? Like all three organizations, I guess 2 organizations, Wild West Bass Trail and One Bass, well, MLF too, so
MLF.
that's 3, all brought together to fish this event. We needed it. We need a pro series event. We need Apex too, which that's another topic, but it pisses me off because I bought into it. I believed into it. I went into it. Same with me and a bunch of other guys, and it just got ran into the ground, unfortunately, because money got spent, either at the Western Bass Shootout or into the guys' freaking personal whatever. Right. Who knows? But we need that. We need that in the sport. And man, I'm trying to keep this. I'm trying to not make it negative. So, but we need that Western Bass Shootout. We need an Apex format here. Like I'll reiterate on what you were just talking about in the beginning of the show. It's hard to go out east from out west.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll reiterate on what I was talking about. We have the anglers, we have the fisheries out here, we have the fan base out here. If you plan it well, if you build it well, and you showcase it well, the anglers will come. Unfortunately,
here's
what you mentioned with another.
I got to cut you off right there, because I got to know if you meant that. Did you mean that the anglers will show, or did you mean that the venue, I cannot get this out of my head. Or did you really mean that the customers, the audience? Because that's above everything. Sponsors don't want to sponsor something that's seen by 12 people. They want to sponsor something that's seen by thousands. So if you build it right and you make it right, will the fans show up? That's the question. Absolutely. Right there. Is that what you're saying? You think Absolutely. The fans will show up? And how long?
100%.
How long do you think you have to really? Because let's look at this. I mean, God, I almost hate to say it, but BBT, Future Pro Tour. Let's just, keep naming, the MLF, all these events are, FLW, all these events that have tried out here, and the fans don't show up. What do you have to? And they have planned. They have. I went to. Now, don't get me wrong. When I went to the Bassmaster that was over on the Delta, and That was amazing. There was a ton of people there. But how come we can't get that at our everyday events? Is it all? Do you always think it's just because they're not planned? They don't know a year ahead of time?
I mean, everyday events is hard to say, but it's something that's got the clout of 3 different organizations banding together to make this super tournament or a classic event, like you mentioned earlier in the show. Yeah, there should be the crowd, there should be the fan base, there should be 100 vendors. When vendors back out, when it's established in a poorly timing manner, yeah, I mean, you can expect the result that you saw, but you build that in advance. You build all these organizations coming together to build this event at a famed fishery, the California Delta,
right?
In a city that's got a pretty good median in between Northern California and Southern California. If you were to split them and be North Carolina, South Carolina kind of deal,
right?
We have that median in between some of the best Northern California fans and the Southern California fans that would show up, and I know they're there.
Right.
And you can also argue, right, like we're a fan base that's built off of social media and live weigh-ins, and they can be at home and watch all of it through their phone or their tablet or their computer. Anybody can argue that at any platform, at any sport. But every event, that's not going to happen for most events. But if you build this thing, right, the Western Bass Shootout, when you have the 20 best Apex guys, RIP, unfortunately, which pisses me off. But you have 20, you have 20 of those guys. You have 10 from MLF. You have 10 from the Pro-Ams. You build it right, they will come. We have the fans. We have the anglers. We have the bodies of water. All 3 of those are checked off the list, and I have no doubts in my mind. They are there. It's just a matter of making it more aware, not doing it last minute, and they will be there. I mean, as an event as large as that, from weighing in and at Dam B&W and taking a pilot car to drive 20 boats at a time or 10, 15 boats at a time to Sacramento. People don't know, from B&W launch ramp in the I call it Central Delta. You're 5 minutes away from Frank's track.
Right.
From there to Sacramento, that's a hour drive with traffic, an hour and a half. Bass boats with a live well full of fish.
And I
Bass U, folks. Information is pouring over. If you want to learn more about every lake, how to fish shallow, deep, in between, skipping docks and rocks and cranking, slow wiggling, chatter, smattering, you get it at Bass U. We got the best of the best. If somebody's ever caught a bass on something and perfected the technique, we got you covered. Get on Bass U TV, check it out, sign up, be a member, be part of it, folks. Keep learning. I'm Gerald Swindle. Subscribe to Bass U.
Tell you right now, and I get what you're saying, but you know this already. That was not the plan for the event. The plan was to go out of Discovery Park and the weather. This year in California, there was a couple, and I'm not going to defend anybody on this. I'm not going to how this thing came down. And I'm fully with you on this. I think that it was poorly planned. I think it was just last minute. I didn't know about it. And I'm in this sport all the time. But I was out there telling people as much as I could. But, we had California was in one of its largest rain years ever in history. You could not plan for the Sacramento Kings to actually step up and do what they did to get into the playoffs. And Discovery Park was still flooded. And that's where they wanted to go out of, which was a 15-minute drive compared to an hour, like you said. So I do give them some credit that they had to make major adjustments to do it. It does suck that it happened like that. But I still think the biggest thing was still the fans.
I don't even care.
Right.
For myself, I don't care that it's an hour drive. Look at, I can't even tell you how many classics and Forest Wood Cups and MLF Toyota Series, whatever the hell they're called now.
Yeah.
But Forest Wood Cups that were drove from a fishery to a arena.
Correct.
Which that's no big deal. An hour, hour and a half. But to get all your vendors there, you need more than a handshake. You need renewable deposits, right? Like
correct.
non-refundable
Non-refundable deposits.
I'm looking for. You non-refundable deposits. You need those venues, those venues. God, what's the word I'm looking for? You need those vendors. Vendors there at the venue with non-refundable deposits. You need the facility, which there was, right? We had that.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to put it out. You don't need to put it out to the world 3 months before time. Put it out there a year in advance, especially as the new thing. If you knew when you were doing it, the guys that were planning it, don't put it in 2023. When was that? That was last year, 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
2023. Don't put it in 2023. Put it in 2024.
Right.
So that these guys have recognition. People in Northern California on riding a tractor for a living know what's up. Guys in Southern California know what's up. Build it.
Right.
Not just put it out there, put all this money into it, which I can't say for certain, but was money that I paid in prepaid entries for Apex, and same with 44 other guys. That's why none of us are getting paid and why I'm struggling right now, which I shouldn't be, because I have money that should be in my bank account from weighing bass in to win some nickels, and my nickels are all gone.
Right.
And you know where those nickels went? I can't really tell you for sure, but a Western Bass Shootout happened, and there wasn't more than a dozen vendors in there and no more than a handful of people that came in that weren't family affiliated that pay the $5 to get there. And, hey, I'll land on my feet. Guys will land on their feet. I'm not trying to complain about that.
Nope.
I'll be back. I'll be fine. Other guys will be fine. It's a lot for me to swallow right there, because it's really hard for me to not say something else. But, hey, if you put that event the right way, you strategize it the right way, you put somebody behind the reins the right way, it's planned the right way, the sponsors are there. There are guys in this industry and girls that want to support us out here. And I know this. I know it. I know them personally. I know people from that have talked to me about it. And then I know we have the venues. We have, the famed Cal Delta, San Joaquin River system. We have other fisheries out there in my hometown included. Guess what? We have, we have little arena areas that we have the California Mid-State Fair every year that could house thousands of people to watch people fish at one of our local lakes out of a set group of guys of 50. I believe that's what the set group of guys were at the Western Bass Shootout. So it doesn't need to be the Delta. And there's cities and there's towns that want to pay for something like this, and there is fans out there. And if you tell me I'm alone and I'm only one of 10 guys, because I'm a fan first and foremost, if you tell me there's only 10 of us out there, I will stop fishing tomorrow.
Right.
But I know for a fact there's a lot of us out here. If you make more awareness about it, you make it broader to the public. And it don't need to be the Delta. It don't need to be right dead smack in the middle of California. It could be anywhere else.
Yep.
And there are sponsors out there that will jump on. There are vendors that are jumping at this opportunity to showcase their products at something like this per cost that is offered to them through the people that are offering it to them, right? Like Wild West Bass Trail, or that will pay however many dollars to showcase their rods, reels, their swim baits, their whatever. There are a lot of companies out there. It just needs to be ran the right way, in my opinion. So that's what I got to say about that.
Well, I will tell you this. I talked to Mark, and that is, this thing that he's getting ready to do. And I think, for me, I think this is such a positive that's coming. And I don't know. It's such a thing that I don't want to put the same thing right now. Now there's like this, and I feel for Mark in doing this, because he's up against a wall now, because now he's jumping in and he's putting something out there that he wants to be here, first of all. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to have Mark on his own show, and we're going to talk about this probably in the next show, about what he's expected, what he feels is expected. He's put things out there to ask anglers, to ask people in general, fans, just anybody that's going to come try to fish it, what do they want to see, what they need to do, and the end result is that he's going to be up against a wall with he's coming in at a time when he's going to have to really try to I guess, put out a tournament that everybody else is going to be just okay with it. Okay, this is being done right. I like it, because things have been done through many circuits, not just Wild West, not through New Gen, not through, One Bass, I have heard negatives from just about everyone out there. And you're always going to do that. That's always going to happen. That's nothing new. People are complainers. That's what we do. We complain about things we don't like. But
Yep.
yeah, but
that's human nature.
Right, it's human nature. And I think that Mark's going to have some struggles probably the first year, just trying to make sure that everybody, and you're never going to make everybody happy, but you can definitely put out an event. You can definitely put out a circuit that people can get behind. And unfortunately, I think so many people got behind Wild West. I mean, there was one of their first events was 280 boats or something on Shasta. I mean, they were doing something that people were wanting so bad. And that's what really is so devastating out here. And I don't want to see that happen with Mark. I want to see him succeed. I want to see this thing succeed. I want to see guys like yourself, guys like me, the Matt Nadeaus of this world who, and I feel bad for Matt because Matt won his first championship and then pretty much got stiffed, Let's just say that. That's what happened.
I absolutely you're talking about.
Yeah, and
because I was the guy that took it to him.
Yeah, no, but and to his credit, or however you want to look at it, he's been very positive about it, and he said, "I didn't have this much money when I was yesterday. I don't have it now." So that's what it is. Some people would look at that as, I don't know. I guess ignorant or naive in how he looks at things, but he is who he is, and that's okay. I know that that's not exactly the way I would look at it. If somebody owed me that much money, I'd be mad. I'd be mad. I'd be upset. I wouldn't be the bigger man. Let's put it that way. That would not be me. I would be the petty. Give me my damn money now.
Yeah, I mean that's me in a nutshell, Ed. I mean, I know Matt as a competitor. I've known him for a few years now. The guy's a stud. He's a great family man, great person. Nothing against him. But when he's saying, hey, I'm out on 23 grand and this is great, let's support some other organization. It's like, whoa, stop. Seriously. I'll tell that to anybody. Take a look at what just happened to us as anglers. We got left with our freaking pants around our ankles, feeling dizzy after drinking the Kool-Aid. And he's just jumping into some other organization, going all in. And I told him this on a public post. I was like, look, dude, hey, stop. You got to look at this from a different scenario, right? Like a different
angle,
viewing.
Yeah.
Angle. Yeah. I mean, and that's how it is, right? If you want to get in that scenario again, go for it. If you want to lose another 23 grand because the guy's a stud, he's going to win more tournaments. If you want to get screwed on it, go ahead. But I'm trying to help. I don't want that to happen. I want us all to be banded together. I want us all to compete together. There's a generation of guys out here that I am linked with, no matter how you want to put it. I've been fishing against them for 10 years now, and it's going to be that way till I'm 70 years old.
Right.
And I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So I want the best for these guys, and I understand as much as anybody their worth. And I'm a fan of the sport for first and foremost. I'm a fan of Matthew Nadeau. I'm a fan of Luke Johns. I call him Luke Combs, but I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan that when he puts on his little cute red glasses, it really, gets me fired up. I'm a fan of Austin Wilson. I'm a fan of Matthew Nadeau, and these guys are freaking dot-gum studs. And I'm just mentioning a couple. There's a lot more out there that I'm not mentioning. And you have to understand what happened. We had this thing going. You can't brush it under the rug. You can't just go support another circuit unless you know what's happening, what's going on.
Right.
I mean, it just happened in May. I mean, May was 2 months ago when we were fishing. Apex was starting the 2023 season. I mean, guess what? I fished the Bass Nation too. You don't want to know why I didn't fish it in 2023? Is because they had a Lake Nacimiento event. at my home lake, which I couldn't fish due to Apex rules because we had a Lake Nacimiento event on the schedule for Apex. So I had to miss out, unfortunately, on the Bass Nation event at Nacimiento. People say, hey, well, you're only missing out on one. Why can't you fish the rest? Well, I had to fish out on another one because we had our baby due around the same time. So that sucks to me because I was planning on fishing the Nacimiento event and the other few events that they had to qualify for the 2024 regionals and national championship, et cetera, which freaking sucks.
Right.
You know, because that's how Apex is. If there's a Nacimiento event on the schedule, guess what? You can't fish it with anybody that's not an Apex competitor, which none of the
other Bass Nation guys were not. Yeah.
Drawn. Yeah, which sucks. And I bit the bullet on that. You know, the event was back in January or February. Somebody can comment on that, on exactly when the date was, but it was earlier this year in 2023. I decided to skip out on that. I didn't have to do that. And that really irks me. Matthew Nadeau didn't have to skip out on other things that he committed on fishing. And you know, guess what? The freaking guy won 20 grand. He fished his butt off. He's one of the most enthusiastic people you'll ever meet. You know this.
I know this.
Other people that know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that talks to Matthew Nadeau or follows him on his Facebook or Instagram knows he's one of the most positive people on this planet. And the guy got shafted.
Yep.
And it's not just him. It's a lot of us. It's not just us anglers. There's creditors. There's sponsors. And guess what? There's people that were fishing the Pro-Ams because it's not just Apex. Wild West Bass Trail is gone. It's off the it's wiped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And there were people that were committing their time to fish to get to the Apex series, right? So to me,
that's
it's more like I got played.
That's a subject that I haven't heard really breached. You know, that not only is this just gone, it's gone, and all the people that had put the effort into making the Apex, guess what? You're gone.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? I'm the guy that people.
Yeah.
Guess what, Ed? I may not think about it much. You know, I think about the money I'm out on and the time I invested. But something else I got to think about, something else these other guys need to think about that aren't saying anything about, have to understand that they proposed a platform to these anglers that wanted to qualify and take the steps to get here. And then now it's gone, completely gone. So I feel like a fraud. I feel like the guy, people see me at the launch ramp. They're like, hey, dude, like I saw what you're doing. I love Apex. That's what I'm getting at, right? Like I loved it. And I would tell anybody that. Like it was awesome. And I fished the first Pro-Am at Shasta that they had when Zach Elwright won back in 2016. And it was a 2-day event and Gary Dobbins bought it. I fished that event. I was there. I watched Zach Elwright win that event in the parking lot of Bridge Bay. And I've been fishing them for a long time. And when this Apex thing came about, I was all in. And all the pieces of the puzzle were there. I feel bad for everybody that I inspired to get there, and then the season got cut short to not be there. Or I shouldn't even say season got cut short. The entire entity, entire company, business, gone, wiped out the face of the earth. And the guy's just, hiding under a rock that owns this thing.
Okay.
And that's my frustration. I mean,
Tired of searching through ads to find bass articles in your favorite fishing magazine? Well, we have a solution for that. Introducing Bass Angler Magazine with over 30 articles in every issue, filled with tips and techniques to help you catch more fish. Follow the pros as they publish the most up-to-date seasonal methods to catching bigger bass. Whether you're a beginner or professional angler, make Bass Angler Magazine part of your gear today. Be a part of the fastest growing bass publication in the nation. Log on to bassanglermag.com with code TV and save 20% when you subscribe now.
And then let me ask you this, because you have said this all interview. You've said this. What have you learned, and how do you apply it to the next event?
What I've learned, and what do you mean by event? I'm sorry.
I mean, you've already said, and I know this. You're not going anywhere. You're still going to fish. You're going to find something to fish. What are you going to fit? What do you, this happened and it sucks that this happened. And I think we're going to pay for this for a few years. But we still, you still want to do this as a sport. You still want to do this because you have a passion for it. You have a love for this sport. So what is it what have you learned from this event that you can say, you know what, this is what I've learned. When I go to look for the next event that I'm going to fish, this is what I'm going to look for. Are you going to look for someone that has a ton of money and has invested it correctly and they don't need, the little measly amount that I'm giving them is they don't need it. So that's what I'm going to go look for. Are you going to look for someone to give you, what is it that you're going to look for? What's going to make Austin Bonjour say, hey, I'm back in, I'm wholeheartedly in, and I'm going to invest in these people. I'm going to trust that my money is going to be safe with these people. What is that? What is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, hey, I want to fish it all, Ed.
I know.
And I'm a bass fishing junkie. I would love to fish all of them. I would love to support all of them. And to answer your question betterly, I would say right now, after I'm left high and dry, unfortunately, because I was all in, it's like getting divorced and my heart is torn apart. I would say, hey, MLF's been here for 5 decades, and there's somebody that after that hears this interview that can go, hey, boy, they've been here for 48 years and whatever. They've been here for a long time. So you can fish their circuits. MLF is like trying to hang on, and I've been fishing them since 2015 too. And there's people that are listening to this that have been fishing them since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But they don't have the numbers that they've had in the past, and they're trying to stay out here. Just Bass is gone.
Right.
Bassmaster got one look out here after a handful of years, a decade, whatever you want to call it, 10 years, ain't much. But they said, all right, we're gone. They don't have the numbers. This is nonsense. They're out of here. And MLF is probably going to do the same thing unless we don't support them, which you mentioned another angler off the show that was mentioning, hey, we don't need another circuit like Mark's circuit, because he's just referring to the same thing he would have said about WWBT. When it's gone, now there's another one taking its place, right? So he is referring to the two entities that are One Bass and MLF, or FLW, that we, FLW MLF, MLF FLW, whatever you want to call it. So there, you have that. You have the Bass Nation to support, and that's kind of what I'm looking towards, is those two events. And be honest with you, there's another event I'm not going to mention, another trail, which I don't trust. They just stemmed out of nowhere, and they are licking their lips to gather these anglers. A lot of organizations are. It's a business.
Right.
It's a business. But the people that are not really trying to turn themselves into a profit is what I look at. The people that are just keeping their business and minding their own business in this time, that are losing. I'm sorry, they are not losing, but anglers in WWBT that are lost and are gone, they're not trying to acquire them, to bring them over. They're not like the first people to knock at your door and say, oh my God, that sucks. Holy shit, come here. Like, that's just a red flag to me. And especially the organizations that have been here for a long time and haven't done that.
Right.
But my trust is kind of down to nothing. And, if what I look for is an organization that's been out here for a long time and has done nothing but right for the anglers. And, Mark, you mentioned he's starting the circuit. He just announced it however many days ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days ago.
Within a week. Yeah, and I love Mark. The guy's a good dude. I trust him. Hopefully one day I can be supporting his events. I just, right now, myself, I am, like I said, it's like I just got divorced and my heart is broken because I give everything into the sport. I'm not just some guy that's going to lie to you and say I love it and I'm getting paid by sponsors. I freaking love the sport and I have no money. So I'm going to put my money into sports, and I'm not in sports, into organizations that have been here for a while, that are longstanding and have been here and have done it for a long time. That's what I look at. I look at the guys that have been here and supported the anglers. Paychecks are always there. They haven't faltered. They haven't buckled under pressure. They've been here, and that's what I look for. And if I'm a diehard competitor, and if that ain't there, I'll go YouTube route or just fun fishing, because I still fish once. Now I have 2 kids, so maybe once every 2 weeks. If I'm lucky, it was once a week. When I was in high school, it was every 3 days a week. Now it's down to once a week. But I'm gonna still fish. I'm still gonna land on my feet. I'm a competitor. Me saying I'm not gonna compete is kind of a lie. I'm still gonna compete as long as I can. But the competitors that I run with are going to be the same, I hope. And I hope there's new anglers. I hope this stems new anglers. I hope people that are a part of what I went through learn from it. I know guys that went through it back in, I don't know the date, the timeline, or 100% Bass, Angler's Choice, that had similar scenarios, and they've learned from it. I look at them to see what they're doing. And I look at my peers and the guys that I'm fishing with now. I hope they learn from it and don't fall down other roadways that are corrupt and blocked and damaged. I hope they choose the right ones, which are the organizations that have been here for a long time and have stood up and developed as organizations and companies. I hope they get recognized. And as far as Mark, I hope nothing but the best for him. He's one of the best dudes I've come to know in the last handful of years, and I'm happy for him in this new organization. Nothing is set in stone, like he said on his social media post, as far as what's to happen. I just know this off the top of my head from reading it 100 times. But when that does come to fruition and it is here, and BAM tournament series, or Mark Lazane tournament series, whatever he decides to call it, is here, I would hope people will support that. It may not be me, but my trust is down to nothing. And I honestly can't trust anything that hasn't been here for a while. So I would recommend that people support those people that have been here in the trenches for a while and are on the edge of never returning, referring to one circuit. So I hope that gets supported, but I also hope nothing but the best for Mark, because what Mark's doing is what we need out here. And me personally, I am like going through a divorce, man. I don't know who to trust.
I get that. And that's, and that's basically what I was asking you. You answered that question is, who do you turn to? It's kind of like, it's like, oh, Superman just died. Now who do you turn to? Because that's what it is. I mean, who's going to be the next? I don't want to say the next hero of California fishing, but it's getting so. It's like you said, I kind of almost had my hopes so high that finally, we had this organization that was going to rival other organizations. That even if we lost MLF, it was like, that's all right. We'll be okay still, because we have this great organization that's doing really good things right now. And they are, bringing us what we need out here. Like, they were going down the right path. I think Jeremy had that thing on the right path. It was going the right way. And I know you agree with me on that, because that's what you put your heart and soul into. It was on the right path. That was going where we needed it to be. And now it's not. It's gone. It's like, poof. But
gone, and that sucks. And hey, guess what? He was the captain of the ship, and you can only blame the captain of the ship when it crashes into an iceberg. So that's all. I mean,
am I going to see you on a big door soon? I better not see you out floating on a big door.
I mean, you might. I mean, hey, it may not be, Leonardo out there, DiCaprio, floating on the door with me. But it's going to be me and Rain Bonjour floating on that door, because we've been floating there for a little while.
Yeah.
You hit that iceberg. There's one guy that hits that iceberg, whether he left the wheel to go do his thing, or, he ran straight into it because he didn't care. I can't tell you that. All I know is it happened, And there's no reason why it should have happened unless you were a good-hearted person running a good-hearted operation, which there's a few of them out here that I mentioned, but and you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of wild, dude, because it's not just me. There's sponsors, there's fans, there's aspiring anglers. It's a huge crash. It was may have been a little iceberg, but it made a giant impact out west.
Yeah. And that's sad because I think that organizations like Bassmaster, who don't give us a lot of attention, organizations like, FLW, MLF, however you want to put it or whatever. Now, and don't get me wrong, I know they're still out here, but they still don't, they don't want to come here. It's the anglers do. And don't get me wrong, I've asked many of the anglers, it's like, why don't you guys come out here? Why don't you come to California and do that? Why is there nothing out here? It's just too far. It's too far to drive. It's too much money for us to give up. It's too much. Is it $23,000 worth of money that you would have to give up to come out here? Because we just did that. So we need something to come out and start showing it that it's okay to be, it's almost like we're being told it's not okay to be from California. It's not okay to be fishing out in California. It's not okay because we don't go to Gunnersville. We don't go to this. We don't go to, Texoma. We don't go to Pick-a-Lay, Toho's and all this. We don't have that. No, but we've got Clear Lake. Wouldn't you like to come fish Clear Lake with us? Would you like to come out and fish the Delta with us? How about Folsom? How about Shasta? How about Pick-a-Lake down south somewhere? These lakes are putting out, like you said, there are just so many bodies of water here, but it's just still not okay that we're in California and that we're fishing here. And that's what it feels like to me, is like, it's not okay to be fishing here. It's like, no.
Right.
And I look at other states, like you said, the Western states, it's like, what about Washington, Oregon? These states, don't get me wrong, they don't have a ton of really good waters. They have, but they have a few. In bass waters, maybe less. But New Mexico, Nevada, there are bodies of water that we can fish. And they don't, other than Nevada, they don't really get, Lake Mead gets the attention. Havasu gets the attention. Nationally even. But that's about it. Right?
Yeah. What about Mojave or Powell?
Right.
Yeah, or the Columbia River. I mean, they had it, the Bass Elites had on the schedule back in 2020, 2021, and they freaking took it off the schedule because guys complained it was too far of a drive. But guys don't complain to drive from Florida or Texas up to New York, which is the exact same thing as someone driving from Alabama over,
right?
Which most of the Elite Series is in that central states, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. So, yeah, no, well, I mean, it's kind of frustrating.
It is, because I just feel like we just don't get there is no love for California. Don't get me wrong. There's hardly any love for the West. It's just, Texas, that's what we get.
Yeah. Texas is West now.
Right. And it's kind of funny that Texas is West now, but yeah, it's one of those ones, but they do something different than what everybody else does. They actually encourage fishing, and we don't here. And I think you and I have talked about this specifically before, that's another part of what goes on in California, is that there's no support for fishing in general. Hunting and fishing are kind of lumped together, and some other things and it's just like, that's not good to do.
Absolutely. I mean, and with the Apex Tour, we had something going. With the Western Bass Shootout, we had something going. So we can showcase our lakes out here. Hey, if these, bass doesn't want to come out here, I say they, but it's really just bass.
Yeah.
I mean, MLS coming out here.
Yep.
We have the TBF. We have the Bass Nation, which isn't really a whole lot, but, we had this thing. We have this platform that disclose, I shouldn't say disclose, unearthed fisheries like Trinity, and I'll name them. The Lake Mojave, no one goes to Mojave. No one goes to Trinity. No one goes down to El Cap, which is a tiny little lake, which probably wouldn't support 100 boat field. But there is a plethora of others. That Oroville, where's an Elite Series event on Oroville? Roosevelt down in Arizona.
Yeah.
and I can go on and on about these fisheries we have out here. Shasta, there's another one there.
Yep.
That I wish we had. I wish we had open, right? Like you can wish and what if yourself to death, but being out here, business is business. They made their business decisions by bass opens coming out here at one time.
Right.
They're no longer here because of, cities doing their thing, bass making their decisions. But we had Apex, we had the Western Bass Shootout, and it got ran into the ground, which sucks. And I'll reiterate that again, which we've talked about earlier in the show. It was here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the building blocks. There was the Pro-Am circuit, guys that get to Apex. There was I was on a podcast just the other day with people. One of the gentlemen lived in Colorado, and he chose to, either A, move out east, or B, move out west. He chose out west because of Apex and the Western Bass Shootout, what it brought to him. And I feel so bad for him. And it's not just him. There's other anglers, a lot of them, that were here for that opportunity. And I hope there's somebody out there that can fill that void, to present something that is legitimate, and doesn't, have some Ponzi scheme behind it. I shouldn't say Ponzi scheme. I don't know what happened. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, to run it into the ground, because, hey, I bought into it. I learned from it. But I hope somebody can do something out here, which we don't have to go to, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Plattsburgh, New York,
right,
or Knoxville, Tennessee, or, we don't need to go to Smith Lake in Alabama.
Yeah.
We can stay out here and fish the fisheries we have out here. We could have a whole show of me naming the fisheries we have out here, because there is a lot of them.
Yeah. And and I think we talked about that before. It's like, you have a career here, and, it's not fishing, unfortunately, yet. But you have a career here, and do you want to pack up your newborn, your 13-month-old, your wife, your everything, just to move back to a place where you feel like you can make a living actually being a tournament angler? And again, once you do that,
huge gamble.
Yeah. And once you do that, even if you decide like Aaron Martins, or, pick somebody else that's decided to move there,
right.
If you are doing that, I think it always resonates with me. James Watson told me this one time when I was interviewing him, and he said flat out, he goes, before I leave the door every year, I am $70,000 in debt before I start becoming a tournament angler. Before I pay the light bills, before I pay the water, before I start paying gas, he goes, I'm $70,000 in debt, because I am going to be fishing as a tournament angler. Do you know how many times I have to win or place and get checks to make that 70 grand go away? And then I still have to keep my lights on. Do you want to move across the country just to try that?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably, a huge number of checks and finishes to do well.
Right.
I mean, I can only imagine these guys pay $5,000 an entry fee, plus, I mean, that's $5,000 an entry, like you said, keeping the lights on at their house and travel. I mean, if you make a $10,000 check, I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I can't tell the world what's listening what they're profiting on, but it ain't a lot off of what they're winning off just a $10,000 check. I mean, it ain't enough, dude.
No,
unless you have help.
Yeah, they have to get sponsors, and that's another part out here that, unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, is lacking out here. There are great sponsors out here in the West, but there's not a ton of them. They're mostly endemic. There's a few that are non-endemic sponsors coming. We all know, we've seen the boat, the casinos that have jumped on and that sort of thing, and blah blah blah, and you name them. But we're not looking at Lexus. We're not looking at some of these other ones that pretty much have to be a part of this sport that make the money out here. And hopefully with Mark and his connections, that he will be able to bring that. And he was just at ICAST. He's been out there, he's back, he's here again. And he told me, he goes, man, he goes, it has run rampant that I'm doing this with iCast. And there are companies that want to be a part of it. And that's a great thing for you guys, the anglers that are going to be fishing his tour. If you choose it, you're going to see some things that you haven't seen before. You're going to see some things that maybe he's going to bring to it. Maybe he'll bring that stability, possibly, and I said, and I'm going to let him answer those questions, because Mark is above everything that I've ever known about Mark. Is he is darn honest about what he's going to do. And when he says he does something, he's going to do it. I'm sure you can attest to that. You've known him a long time as well. You've fished against him and everything else. And,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I hope the best for what Mark's doing, and I can attest, myself that, he stands by, being there for the anglers. And I promise you, if I can say that, the sponsors will also say that. So
right.
That's a huge deal, right? Like having the sponsors there, having the fans there, and also the anglers. But, that all goes together on what he's trying to build. And I can fully speak from my heart that he will be there. That Mark's a good guy, and I have nothing bad to say about him. It's a blessing what he's doing, getting the West what it deserves. But, hey, if I'm not there, don't take it bad. Like, oh, hey, that boy there, because I have trust issues. I have trust issues no matter what. Like right now, I got screwed, and you can listen.
Yep.
You listened to me talk about it earlier in the show.
Yep.
I know Mark personally. I know who he is. I know what he's capable of, and it's great things. And we needed this. We need what he is offering to the West.
Mm-hmm.
It was there. It was there with Wild West Bass Trail. It was there with the owner of Jeremy DeHart. Before him, it was there with Gary Dobbins. That circuit that was brought amongst us. I was there. Like I said earlier in the show, I was there in 2016 when Zach Elright won up at Shasta when they were 2-day pro-ams, and there wasn't Apex, there wasn't a kayak tournament, and there wasn't a college fishing circuit.
Right.
And now Mark has these platforms that were here before him that got ran into the ground, but he has something to build off of, which I'm, excited to see. I want to be a part of it one day. Like I said, I'm not a rich man. I don't have sponsors paying all my entries, and also I'm not rich, so I can pick and choose when I'm, fishing, which means a lot to me and should mean a lot to other anglers that are listening to this, that I'm a blue collar man working my ass off to fish set events. I work as a plumber Monday through Saturday most times. And I work my butt off to get entry fees, to pay tournaments, and to invest them to go compete. So I hope one day that can be me with BAM tournament series or whatever Mark decides to name it. I know it's pretty new. But hey, what he's trying to accomplish, and I've talked to him personally on the phone, is something I'm all for. But when you've just gone through a divorce, you don't care about anybody, really. So that's kind of how I feel. And it took me a lot to invest into a company. And I know I'm a smaller platform than most, but hey, I'll get there one day. Hopefully it's through Mark's series or One Bass or MLS. But it saddens me through my core that WWBT is gone and it got ran into the ground. And I'm sorry for everybody that believed in that and decided to run that train, because that's where I'm at. I'm just like anybody else that wanted to do those things. And it's kind of frustrating to me, but we'll all land on our feet. If you got a positive mental attitude, you hear it all the time, you will land on your feet and you will continue to move forward. If you're a negative Sally, hey, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can say to you, but you got to keep moving. You got to fight for what's right, but you also have to keep moving. Yeah. So that's how I feel.
Well, Austin, man, I started this show with, you've been out there, you've been vocal, you're upset about this. I think you have every right to be upset about this. I think a lot of people out there have every right to be upset about this. I don't think you've been, too negative about everybody. I think there's definitely ground right in the middle to be positive yet still be negative. And I feel like you've walked that line very well. And I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I want to thank you for voicing your opinion and having, the statements that you have. And thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. Like we've talked earlier in the year, and you and I became friends because if you ever want to come to the Central Coast, I know you'll have 24 rods rigged up. And I know you'll be ready to go junk fishing, and I know you, and I ain't gonna talk to somebody that I don't like or to the detail that I have talked to you. I guess, right? Like I guess I'll talk to somebody I don't like who doesn't talk to somebody like that. But you're somebody that I truly enjoy talking to. So one of these days that you can get over to the Central Coast. I know you had some history here. Fishing some of my home lakes, and we can, hey, hopefully you don't have to have 20 rods rigged up. Hopefully we can have like 2 or 3 and we can go smash them one day.
That sounds amazing, dude. I always love that invitation. Thank you for the kind words. And whoever does decide to, whoever lands you as an angler on their circuit, they'd be lucky. And you bring some class, you bring some good stuff to it. And it's really appreciated out here. And I think anybody listening tonight, I know this isn't all about fishing and how to become a better fisherman. That's not, but this is right now in California, this is our topic. This has been our topic. This is going to be our topic until it calms down. I hope that the Bass Angler Magazine, circuit comes out and Mark does it the way he really wants to see it done, which is just clean and right, and guys can come out here and make names for themselves and stay fishing in the West Coast where they belong, because that's what really will turn this world around here out West, is guys that are from here, staying here, fishing here, making money, making a living. And guys like Austin, they deserve it. They've worked hard and they put themselves up there, so they deserve it. So thank you very much for tuning in, Austin. Again, thank you. I really appreciate it, man. This has been a great show. So thanks.
Thanks for having me, Ed. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. And we will talk to you guys. I believe I'm going to try to get Mark to come on here and talk about it next time. So in a couple weeks, look for that one. I know this is going to be tough going out. It's going out a little late today. Had some personal issues that I took care of, but we're good. So yeah. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one.